specially dedicated to all my fellow Trinidadians. Trinidad has radiance, Trinidad is nice. When come to the heroes, we got to think twice. We got to learn how to bridge the gap, because there are people make us powerful on the map. The way we treat the heroes with scorn, and also wish they were never born. In other countries I realize their heroes are the ones whom they idolize. Jamaica very they got money to sing praise to their hero. But in my country we deliberately push the heroes below. Then we admire foreign culture we treat nowhere. No, we shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. Bang, bang, ba 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 bang, 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 they're not patriotic at all. When they see their heroes, some will suck their teeth and depreciate them. Yet we never had a state funeral for him. Although he was found appreciation. Did you want to demonstrator for the late Martin Luther and Jubal Butler? He fought for labor. We watch him die the pauper. Then we admire foreign culture. We treat hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. Like regardless to what, we must show sincerity. They have played their part, evidence is shown. Being a dot on the map, they make Trinidad well known. It's done differently in other countries, where the state provides facilities for their families. Their contributions we quickly forget. Only because we love we heroes as yet. Because they mash me up for Socrates and Zico. But in my country, Chinapu and Sammy was never treated so. Italy praise Rossi, but in my country, you would call him a weirdo. We ought to know we shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. We try to destroy. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. The pauper, then we admire culture we treat proper so low. We ought to know we shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. Ba ba la ba dang bang bang ba dang ba dang bang bang. People like Crawford Noel and Penny, regardless to what, we must show our sincerity. They have played their part, evidence is shown. Being a dot on the map, they make Trinidad well known. It's done differently in other countries, where the state provides facilities for their families. Their contributions we quickly forget, only because we love we heroes as yet. Tonico de Mashureo for Socrates and Zico. But in my country, Chinapu and Sammy was never treated so. Italy praise Rossi, but in my country, you would call him a weirdo. We ought to know we shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. We try to destroy so. We shouldn't treat a hero so. Although you got it so. We shouldn't treat a hero so. Don't listen, shorty, murder. We shouldn't treat a hero so. We don't forget murder so. We shouldn't treat a hero. We shouldn't. No, 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 we shouldn't. We shouldn't treat a hero. No, we shouldn't. No, 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 we shouldn't. We shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 we shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 we shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 we shouldn't treat a hero so. Every country, it seems, without exception, they have memorials and statues to blow your mind. But the Caribbean man, I just don't understand. We don't have anything of that kind. We have a lot of history and plenty famous names, but like we don't want to talk about it. West Indians know about Daniel Boone and Jesse James. It's time we start blowing we own trumpet. So I'm asking you, where are your heroes, Caribbean? I don't see many statues on your streets, and you have no replicas of famous figures, men like Walcott and Kitchie. Where are your heroes, Caribbean? Show them to me. In the foreign countries, it's abundantly clear. You will see mementos from the past. They have postcards and plaques. They have statues everywhere, whether Leningrad, Rome, or Belfast. Mickey Mantle's name is enshrined in Yankee Stadium, 'cause he was really good with a baseball bat. An Olympic gold medal, Paisley Crawford won. Most of we already don't forget that. So I'm asking you, where are your heroes, Caribbean? I don't see many statues on your streets, and you have no replicas of famous figures, men like Warren and Vivi. heroes, Caribbean, show them to me. Guyana should be proud of the Hellenian Lance. They know his name in Australia and England. And every Barbadian should be given the chance to know Garfield Sobers was number one. And every Trinidadian should know of Constantine, Roger Gibbon and Sonny Ramadin. And the whole Caribbean should remember Valentine, the cricketer who helped West Indies to win. So I'm asking you, where are your heroes, Caribbean? I don't see many statues on your streets, and you have no replicas of famous figures. Men like Walcott and Birdie, where are your heroes, Caribbean? Show them to me. And if you go to Moscow, in one day you'll learn there's a building where all their heroes remain. And don't talk about London, every step, every turn is a page of English history retained. Lincoln died a long time ago in history, but he is known and revered by every Yankee. The great Eric Williams just died the other day. Look, we don't forget the man already. Man, I'm asking you, where are your heroes, Caribbean? I don't see many statues on your streets, and you have no replicas of famous figures. Men like Minshall and Sonny, where are your heroes, Caribbean? Show them to me. Yes, I'm asking you, where are your heroes, Caribbean? I don't see many statues on your streets. Where are the replicas of famous figures?
Where are your heroes, Caribbean? Where are your heroes? The late, great Dave Martins. And before that, Heroes by Lord Explainer, the mighty explainer out of Trinidad. And our singers rebuking our Caribbean for the way we treat our heroes, critiquing, self-critique, critiquing the society. I dedicate tonight's program to the young people of our country, because the notion of self-criticism, people are telling our young people that is denouncing them. If you criticize or you critique the society, you are denouncing them. And some of our young people are falling for that. And I'm on a mission to turn that around. We have always had that strong tradition of self-criticism in our Caribbean. We're one of the few peoples in the world who laugh at ourselves. We laugh at ourselves. We are constantly praising our people. It must be a critiquing them. Professor Rex Nettleford said, it's chaos in order and order in chaos. And only we West Indians can deal with that. And I think some of our young generation are being socialized to believe that when you critique the society, when you critique tendencies in the society, you are demeaning them. And I'm on a mission to turn that around. We have to understand the complexity of who we are, the complexity of our society. We have to understand who we are and that we are complex people, because human beings are complex and we are human beings. We are human beings. We are as complex as the ages. Good evening to all of you. Good evening to all of you. I'm dedicating tonight's program to the young people. As you know, I did that interview with Guyana Standard, and they're playing the second part of that interview tonight. And the first part, they sought to create all kinds of controversies. And I'm so moved by the scores of young people who have reached out to me. I'm moved. They know who they are. I'm going to share one or two snippets. Sometimes God don't come, but he does send. Old people, God don't come, but he does send. I was hesitant to do that interview. But I did it. I thought I would use the opportunity to say some things. Even though, as some people observe, the young interviewers thought, they were more interested in Lake Bottom. They were trying to play got you and that kind of stuff. I'm an old head, so that didn't bother me. But I think as the interview progressed, I got the opportunity to say some things. And the interview should have been 30-odd minutes, 38, 40 minutes. And it went up to 80 minutes. So they had to do 2 programs, so to speak. And like I said, the young people who reached out to me, sometimes you feel that you want to give up this fight. And here's a snippet. Morning, Dr. Hines. I must applaud your dedication towards championing the cause for Afro-Guyanese in Guyana, and furthermore, giving pointed and candid perspective in your recently conducted interview with the Guyana Standard. Please rest assured that your opinions were well received, and I look forward to your taking other platforms to champion the cause. I would further suggest you consider doing an interview on Sherrod's program, providing he is willing. This interview will give context to the last part of the interview that is yet to be aired by Guyana Standard. Since my opinion, it was a deliberate attempt to make you look racial by ending the interview where they ended it. That was from one young man. Let me try to see if I can pick out another one. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. I think I will share this one. Greetings, brother. I agree with everything you said on your interview. You're candid I may not agree with everything that you said in general, but your articulations on that interview was informative and well done, sir. It gave me new information. And then I'd share one more. Let me see. Not this one. Not this one here. Um, um, all right, let me share this one. Yes, this one. Uh, Good morning, sir. My name is, and he stated his name. I'm 24 years old, hailing from the town of Linden. I'm currently in my final year reading for law at the University of Guyana. While preparing for work this morning, I came across a podcast you recently sat on, and I'm quite impressed by your delivery and knowledge. I would like to know if you do any lectures or courses, because I think the information you possess as a scholar, if shared, would not only make me quite knowledgeable, but also make me and other young people better Guyanese. Those are three of the many uh, texts I got, and there are a whole set of others on social media because the young people are abuzz by this interview. Some reason, perhaps because it's for two young people who were interviewing me, and and because young people are in the news, they are in the news, and so the young people are abuzz, and that was not my intention, but the young people have taken that interview and they're mobilizing themselves. I let me just say at this point, a pastor contacted me a couple of weeks ago, and he said, Dr. Hines, I want to do a course on Pan-Africanism. And I agreed to do the course. And in our discussion, he said perhaps we could recruit other people to do the course. I taught Pan-Africanism for 30 odd years. So it's not a new subject for me, not a new course. And we are recruiting, and I'm making it public here for those of you who would like to participate in a course on Pan-Africanism. We are going to do that course. I'm working on the syllabus right now, and then I will announce what time we will start. But I'm opening it up now to the public. It was my intention, of course, for us to work with the pastor. And then we said, well, why don't we get 2 or 3 other people? But now I'm opening it up. A course on Pan-Africanism. I met Pastor at the last rally we had in the Square of the Revolution, 2 days before before the election. And as I walked through the crowd, as I would usually do during the campaign and meet people and so on, the pastor came to me and he said, I listened to you tonight. I've always listened to you. And I want you to teach me Pan-Africanism. I want to do a course. And of course, we followed up. So I'm opening it up. You all can get in touch with me. My particulars are on the screen there. Inbox me if you would like to join that course. I think we're going to do it over a period of 6 to 8 weeks, perhaps meeting once per week. It would be virtual. So if you wish to participate on that course on Pan-Africanism, you can enroll for that course. And I will be doing similar courses as we go forward. Time, of course, is essence, but I will be doing courses on Black studies and Caribbean studies, on Guyanese studies. So I am now retired, as I've said here before, as a professor, but I will not stop teaching. And I am grateful to the young people again who have reached out to me these past couple of days and an interview, that interview um that I did, which has sparked so much discussion among the young people. I am I am grateful and I'm humbled. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, all right. Okay.
who we are having a fruitful discussion with. The first part of the discussion was posted on Wednesday, and this one, let's continue.
Deal with their
To what
racial interests.
extent do you think it is possible for an Indian man to adequately deal with the issues affecting Black people?
He has to commit suicide. He has to commit ideological suicide.
Okay.
He has to become ideologically aligned with Black people. And I think African Guyanese, especially the younger people who've moved to win, they feel an ideological affinity with Muhammad. He's being demonized.
Mm-hmm.
He's being taken advantage of. They're treating him as though he can't read and write. And there's always been an impulse in our society to stand up with the underdog. I grew up in a Black community, and sometimes we had Indians at the front of the village, and sometimes them boys would be beating up an Indian boy. And people will come and say, no, don't beat the boy up. You're beating him up because he's an Indian, and they would represent him. There's always been that impulse of when you're taking advantage of people. People, not only Black people, I think.
On that point,
yes.
why do you think that the Black people didn't get that impulse for Aubrey Norton? Because he has been beaten up on.
Yeah.
Why didn't the Black people feel that empathy or sympathy for him?
77,000 of them voted for him. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but overwhelming
you mean why more?
Yeah.
Why more? You see, look, our country, especially African Guyanese, we see our leaders in class terms. We've always been more comfortable with the lawyer, doctor, the elite leaders.
Like you, the elite.
Well, I am a new elite.
Okay.
Right? I'm the elite who come out from the nigger yard just yesterday.
Okay.
There are elites who came out last week.
That's it.
Right? And we have always, you take a place like Jamaica. Jamaica did not get a phenotypically Black prime minister until 1993, P.J. Patterson. Before that was Bustamante, Norman Manley. After that was Seaga, Manley's son, Michael Manley. These were all what we call brown men, mulatto, half white, and they did not elect a phenotypically Black person to lead them until 1993. And you can't be more Black than Jamaica, right?
Look, so you're saying Aubrey Norton basically didn't fit the bill of what Black people like?
There is a certain tendency in the Black community that doesn't see the Aubrey Nortons and David Hines of this world as being able to command the respect of the elite society. They like us. They like us playing a certain role. But when it comes to the top role, they're not too sure.
You're tied to that role.
But it's changing.
Okay.
It's changing because Aubrey still attracted 77,000 votes. So it's a work in progress for us to get to that point where our leaders, our people, can be comfortable with somebody who speaks like me. Somebody who comes from that down there in the nigger yard just yesterday. We have to work our way, all right? And we have to live with that in the society until the society is able to move to a certain point. Brother UC Kwayana, you all just know of him. He just celebrated his 100th anniversary. In 1953, he said to the white governor, This white man.
Mhm.
I will not stand for this confounded nonsense. And people change it to say this confounded nonsense will stop. That was cuss word in those days. You telling that to the white man? The elites call him a country boor. He was from Buxton. They call him a country boor. He has no class. This thing it has a history. In America, they used to call Garvey half-educated. He led the biggest black movement.
And this time, Dr. Hanks,
Yeah.
where the black community,
Yes.
you want to, okay, is so segregated, where they have the elites, they have the other kinds of elites,
Yeah.
like you,
The new elites.
the new elites.
Yeah.
They have those who are, as you would put it, less conscious, or who don't see that pride. How do you anticipate the community moving forward after from where we are now? And I say we, not as the community of the political community.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm speaking of the black community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let us not confuse electoral behavior
Mhm.
with cultural and political behavior.
Okay.
Those same young people who vote there,
Mhm.
come 1st of August next year, they're going to be putting on their dashikis and they're going to be going out to the national park.
What does that mean, really?
No, but it means something. It means that they're still culturally grounded.
If you do that once a year?
But yeah, once a year they get an opportunity to do it. All right? They do things in their community. I
Okay.
live in Buxton.
Mhm.
They do African things there every day.
Okay.
They go to African churches. They do kwekwe. These young people do not believe they stop being African. What they did is their political behavior by voting. They voted not with the majority. They've peeled away half of them. You can say it's half of the community. Half of them have said, look, politically, we're going to vote differently. And look at it. African Guyanese gave 77,000 to the PNC / APNO. They gave Mohammed about 90,000.
Mhm.
They gave Amanza 4,000.
Mhm.
They gave Miss Brooms 1,000.
Mhm.
They give the AFC 3,000. They give the PPP a couple thousand.
Mhm.
African electoral behavior has always been plural. Has always been plural.
Mhm.
They give most to the quote-unquote black party, but they've always historically shared their votes around. It's nothing new. I belong to the WPA and Walter Rodney came back to this country. African people voted PNC, but they were on the street with Rodney. You have to understand the nuance.
So
in
you
the
don't
society.
think there's some sort of connection between the state of the African community and the fact that even though you see that it was at your own peril, you could not come together for a political purpose?
It is something that we have to work on, right? I want to be careful because I don't want to be accused of condemning these young people, because I think these young people took a rational decision, because I believe that human beings are rational beings. And so therefore, they took a rational decision.
So when I ask about the lack of partnership between the AFC
Yes,
and the
I think that was a factor. I think I have never in all of my 50 years of political activism saw neither among Indians nor among black people this yearning for coalition that I saw among the black community. And I think the fact that we couldn't get a coalition and the fact that we behave so nasty and terrible, fighting for 65 and 85, I think a lot of young people basically say, you are the stupidness. I don't think that's the only factor, but I think that's a factor, right? The fact that they couldn't see us as acting like big people. And so they decide, look, they're hammering this man, they're demonizing this man. Maybe this man is the deal, the real deal, all right? And they decide to put their votes there. It's an experiment.
Okay.
We have always had these experiments, all right? In the 1960s, some of the black elite voted for the United Force.
As
Some of the
Norton
Indian elite
articulated.
voted for the United Force.
Mhm.
All right? That dissipated by the turn of the 1970s. The United Force was no more. Right? When the WPA come on the scene, Indians felt that the PPP weren't fighting Burnham. And they saw Rodney and Rupnarayan and them as wanting to overthrow this regime. And so Indian people say, they're doing what we want. And then African people say, but we don't like the PNC's overreaching. They're doing things that we are not proud of. And so they came to the WPA. That lasted for a few years. By 1992, Indians went back home, Africans went back home. AFC came. They had Mr. Trotman as their candidate.
Mhm.
Some Africans, not many, it was only 5 seats, 25,000,
Mhm.
moved and they voted for Trotman.
Mhm.
And then Ramjatan became the leader. The Africans went back to the PNC, APNU, and Indians came into the AFC. The AFC got 7 seats, 35,000. Not much. Mohammed has increased on that. He got 98,000 Africans, right? So what is shocking us is not the phenomenon. What is shocking us is the magnitude of it.
right.
How do you expect him to move forward in his political career now, starting leading a party of black people, as you say?
I don't know. It's new. It's new. And if I were to say that I know, I don't know. It's unfamiliar territory. And we will have to wait and see how he will do that. What is going to be the conversation between him and his supporters? What is going to be the dynamics between him and his supporters? I've already observed. I think he may have started on the wrong foot, right? In the sense that the first thing you're trying to do is to remove 3 opposition
The commissioners who were nominated to the
I think
top.
if you do a poll among the young people
Mhm.
who voted for him, I don't think most of them will agree with that move. You see, you have to be sensitive. Yes, these people voted for you. You are now the opposite. But unless you think they stop being black, because what you are doing is saying, look, these 3 black men, I don't want them.
Well, maybe he's
Do you think
replacing
it's
them with other
black
black
men?
people.
Yes. And then he may replace them with 3 other black people, 2 of which will vote with the PPP commissioners. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, but why is it that these are the ones that have to be the black people to be there? Why can't
No,
he?
no, I am saying that he has a right to remove and put other black people.
Mhm.
I am not saying that he doesn't have the right or he shouldn't remove them and put other black people. But if you put 3 black people and one of them votes for the PPP, is that advancing the interests of your supporters?
Mhm.
No, it does not. So you have to be sensitive.
But
Your
in the current
hold
makeup
on.
of the
Your
commission,
supporters don't want the PPP. And you have to be careful that what you do don't go in that direction.
2 things.
Yeah.
One, in the current configuration of the commission,
Yes.
PPP doesn't need anybody to vote with them.
Yes, they do.
They are. Well,
If you change the chair
uh-huh.
and you get a neutral
So I
chair.
said in the current
in the
configuration.
right, but you have to think that the chair is not going to be there very long. And the
Okay.
PPP has to be sure that they have that extra vote.
Okay.
And because remember, if you have a new chair, it is the opposition who gets to give the president. So you're likely to get a chair that is friendly to the opposition. So the PPP is smart, yeah? They know that chair thing ain't gonna last forever, right? And so if they can get a commissioner from the other side to vote with them, they don't need a chair. And these are the things that I think Mohammed has to be sensitive to. He has to remember that his constituency don't like the PPP. That's why they give him the vote.
Being the reality of Mohammed and his history,
Yeah.
why do you think that his supporters are so convicted that they don't like the PPP when Mohammed is basically fresh out of the PPP?
They don't worry about that. Just as how they don't worry that the Americans charge you for smuggling. There's a way in which the present generation see things like corruption. They don't think it's this big moral thing as my generation feel. You know, they make a distinction between the corruption of government officials and the corruption of an individual. A man gonna make money, a man gonna eat the bread. You hear that all the time. They are adamant against official corruption, thieving from the government. But if you, as they say, use your smarts and get rich, they're not. The present generation is not too offended by that. They're not too.
And those
one has
who are
to
not
live with
too
that, yeah.
offended by that, you think they would be up in arms if he removed the 3 commissioners?
No, he has to be careful
Okay.
that in the process of doing that, he does not deliver the commission to the PPP
Gotcha. Okay.
because his supporters wouldn't like that. Right? That's what I'm saying. That GCOM thing needs some more thinking through.
Okay.
All right? It's not something you should jump on right away because it has consequences going forward.
What sort of relationship you have with the Mohammeds?
I never met him.
Okay.
I've never met him, and I'm glad I've never met him
Why?
because I don't want to be associated with the things that he's associated with. I'm clear about that.
But so does that not now mean that you have to, as a parliamentarian, go and work with Mr. Mohammed?
Of course, as a parliamentarian,
Mhm.
if there are issues that we have to work on together, the institution demands that we have to work together. But I don't have to embrace this politics.
When I came into this interview, the major clarification I wanted was what, well, I asked it whether there was a conflation of people, Black people who leave the PNC or APNU, because sometimes it seemed to a lot of the young people I speak to, Black folks too, that people who criticized some of those persons who left the APNU were saying that the only right way to be a conscious Black person is to support the party that's traditionally the Black party, and that you cannot support the PPP as a Black
And be
person.
conscious.
I do
And
not.
be
I do not
conscious.
share that view.
Okay, yeah.
I do
understand
not
that.
share that view. People have imposed that view on me. I do not share that view.
Okay.
Do you like Nina Simone?
I love Nina Simone to be young, gifted.
Okay, no, because
And-
like I know she has a song, Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Yes, that's one of her classics.
Don't let me be misunderstood.
Yeah.
That's one of her.
yes.
No, I mean,
Do you think you're generally misunderstood?
my type, my tendency, is always misunderstood. The history shows that. Malcolm X, who today young people almost worship, in his time he was misunderstood. He used the term house slave. He was one of the first Black leaders
Yes.
to use that term.
Yes.
And they said he was a racist and so on. Dismiss him. Now he's a rock star. When I teach Black politics in the United States, and I teach all the Black movements, the first Black movement that the young people, 18 to 22, mostly identify with is the Black Panthers. Gun in hand, ready to shoot down Honky and to do battle. Young people identify with a certain kind of swag, right? And so on, right? You have to
And
go
you
to
swagless.
yeah, you have to go to pains to sell them Dr. King. All right? They don't readily embrace the Dr. King. So what I'm saying is that when you are young, right, you're radical, right? I remember as a boy in Buxton, Walter Rodney and Clive Thomas and them would come to speak. And we boys and girls, we would want to hear Walter Rodney because he was, and so on. But the older men would come out from the back damn early when Clive Thomas came to speak. You say, why they want to listen to Clive Thomas? Later on, Clive Thomas was talking economics. He was talking cane farming. He was talking farming and the economy, their daily lives. And so it's not that they didn't want to hear Rodney, but Thomas and the economics of sugar was near and dear to them. All right? And so our type is always misunderstood. 40 years, 50 years from now, some people may look back and say, David Hines was right. You know what I mean? An Indian man stopped at the line top the other morning where I live there. And he came out, he said, Dr. Hines, I want to say something to you, but I hope you don't take it the wrong way. I said, what? He said, why Black people so stupid? I said, what do you mean? He said, they've left their own house and go vote for somebody else's house. And I said to him, you haven't offended me, but I don't believe they are stupid. He said, man, that time's just stifle your conscience. He said, by the way, I wouldn't believe when Jack Dio said he was a racist, but now I will realize a sense you've been putting them black man head. So an Indian man is saying that don't only listen to young black people, listen to Indians and how they think about the black behavior. You'll be shocked. You would be shocked.
It's interesting that he'll be so comfortable having such a conversation with you.
If what?
It's interesting that an Indian man would be so comfortable telling you black people stupid.
But you heard what he said. I hope you don't take it the wrong way.
Okay.
Right? And I had to tell him, no, they're not stupid. They made a rational decision. But you see, that Indian man is now saying, well, if these young black people can stray, what about our young Indian people? I wonder if they're next. And Jack Dio said it. He said, when he realized that the win was capturing the young people on TikTok, he said they went into the Indian community, they pulled them and carried them to PPP meetings.
Okay.
Jack
Before
Dio
we
said
go,
that.
I want to know your view on Ganesh Mahibal.
Good young man, very eloquent, understands Parliament because he has been there a long time. And I think as an Indian in a predominantly African party, he has become comfortable in his role. It's not easy to be an Indian in an African party, and it's not easy to be an African in an Indian party. It's tough. But I think Ganesh has matured in the PNC and has come to understand his role.
Do you think he betrayed his race?
You got to ask the race that. Not me, I can't say that. I love having Indians over on my side, right? And so it's Indians who have to, but Indians have called him Nimakaran.
So you wouldn't encourage Indians per se to stay in their camp. You would want them in your camp.
Of course.
But you don't think that black people should go in the Indian
Yes,
camp.
I said that.
Okay, all right. You're very aggressive, you know. You're very aggressive.
No. Guyana would be a better place if Indians can join the PNC on policies and principle,
Right.
and Africans can join the PPP on policies and principle. I learned something from you, and I'm never too old to learn. I learned something from you in the program. You said, well, if Africans didn't vote race, they vote for Mohammed, then it's policy. And Mohammed didn't put any policy. So it could be that they vote for policy. And you ask the question that any good scholar would ask, then what did they vote for? And that we don't know yet. We have to go and talk with them over and over, as we academics would say, try to get behind. All right? And you pose an hypothesis there. They didn't vote race. They didn't vote policy. Then what they vote? And that is the unanswered question.
I said last question, but one more. Do you see, I asked you about the journey for the black community over the past 2 decades. Going forward for the black community, irrespective of which side they're on, do you think we can move forward without addressing certain baseline division?
No, we can't move forward. We have to address that. But to address the division is the consequence of the problem. And I think where you're getting at is the underlying problems in the black community, right? And there are underlying problems in the black community that we have to address, and it has to be addressed at 2 levels. We have to address it as black people, but the government has a responsibility. Whether the government is Indian, Chinese, Portuguese, Amerindian, the government has a responsibility to address this problem. The problem with the Africans is a problem of alienation, all right? And this is a consequence of slavery and colonialism. They're alienated from the society. They don't feel that this society has them in mind. When they hear development, they don't see themselves in it, all right? And so they're alienated from the society. And they then act in ways that are not part of the quote unquote conventional way of acting, all right? And we have to address the underlying problem. That's what the United Nations has said. It has said in the international decade, and now it's the second decade, they've said that anti-Black racism still exists in societies around the world, despite laws that there's still anti-Black discrimination and racism, and they're calling on governments to correct that. Our government, when it went to the United Nations, and they were asked pointedly, what policies have you put in place to deal with African alienation and discrimination? A Black minister said, oh, we have done policies for the people. He could not name one policy. 1 month later, the Amerindians had their United Nations session, and the Amerindian minister went there and she listed policy after policy that the government has implemented to deal with Amerindian alienation. So the underlying problems in the society is the alienation of the African. They don't see themselves in the mainstream. And so therefore, we African advocates, we have to deal with it, but the government also, because a lot of it is structural. I don't know that Jack Doe is a racist. I've never heard Jack Doe said, I believe in the superiority of Indians.
But do you believe that the PPP oppresses Black people?
I believe the PPP government policies have resulted in the further discrimination and alienation of the African people. The PPP is not a person, so they can't discriminate. It's an organization.
Yeah.
And it's an organization that's made up of people of different races. So to say the PPP is discriminatory or the PPP is racist, you're giving the PPP the designation of a person.
Okay, but it's the leaders of the party who make that policy
Yes.
that discriminates.
Yes. And in that sense, they're embracing structural racism.
Okay.
Freddie Kissoon once said that Barry Jack Doe was what he called an ideological racist, and Jack Doe took him to court. Jack Doe, who called me racist every day, I should take you to court every day. Freddie Kissoon said he was an ideological racist. He took Freddie to court. What Freddie was actually saying is that you have embraced an ideology that has led to the further discrimination and marginalization of Africans. And he went to court. And I appeared as an expert witness because there are very few of us who have taught and studied race. And I appeared as an expert witness to explain to the court what race and racism are. And I was cross-examined by the great Bernard DeSantis, right? And I don't think I come out too badly, right? Freddie settled with Jack Doe out of court. So the case didn't go to its logical conclusion. And I am making that argument that I do not know that Jack Doe feel that Black people are inferior. I can't know that, all right? What I do know is that he presides over a government or successive governments that have done little or nothing to change the dynamics of the African Guyanese community and to bring them into the mainstream of wealth accumulation, into the mainstream of education accumulation. The dropout rate is 50% in high school of all Guyanese, and I rather suspect it's higher in the Black community. And as a government, you have done nothing to stop that. In fact, your policies are leading to further militarization of African. In that sense, you are an ideological / structural racist, or you're embracing structural racism. But I don't know at the level of the individual whether you're a racist. I don't know that. I can't know that. But you obviously know that I am a racist because he's either doesn't know what the definition of racism is, or he's being willful.
Okay.
But I will not call him a racist because I don't know that.
Thank you, Dr. Hanks.
If you allow me to close with one more question. A Partnership for National Unity, it started out as a multi-party coalition that had multi-ethnic appeal. Would you say that the parties in the APNU and the relationships have stripped away to a point now when the APNU is no longer seen as a multi-ethnic party, but as a Black party?
The APNU is not a party, as you started out by saying.
A partnership.
It's a partnership coalition of parties. And the APNU was not multi-ethnic. It was the APNU AFC that was multi-ethnic. It was the AFC that brought the Indian votes into the 2015, not the APNU.
Mhm.
All right. So the APNU was never multi-ethnic. It was multi-party.
Mhm.
It was multi-ideological, right? In the sense that you had the PNC, you had the WPA, you had the Justice Party, you had the NFA, and so you had GAP in those early days. So it was multi-party, it was multi-ideological, but not multi-ethnic. It's when we joined with the AFC that the AFC brought the Indian ethnic component that made the coalition then multi-ethnic. And so the APNU, what is left of the APNU is really the PNC and the WPA. You have not, and the NFA is still there. Brother Sheikh, he's going to be Sheikh Yassin. He's represent Kit Scott Party,
Right.
Oh,
right?
right.
And he's representing that party in the regional thing,
Mhm.
not in
National.
not nationally. But the AFC, the APNU has always been really PNC and WPA for the most part. The other parties were there, but those were the two discernible parties. And the APNU, the WPA is not part of the APNU.
No, it
No,
isn't.
we have not rejoined the APNU.
So what
The
happened?
APNU here was an electoral coalition.
Oh,
An electoral coalition. So for electoral purposes, we use the APNU name brand.
Mhm.
PNC doesn't have the same name brand as APNU. The WPA doesn't have the same. You ask,
so in Parliament, you're representing APNU.
I'm representing two formations in Parliament. I'm representing the WPA
Mhm.
and the APNU.
Okay.
Right? There are really five parties in the National Assembly: PNC, PPP,
WPA,
WPA,
Win,
WIN,
and Forward Guyana.
and Forward Guyana.
Okay.
So I am working on two things. Again, people say Norton appoint me. Norton didn't appoint me. We had a pre-election pact with the PNC. If we win so many seats, WPA gets so many seats.
Okay.
If we win the election, WPA gets so many cabinet things.
What's WPA membership like right now?
What do you mean by in terms of numbers?
Yeah.
I would say we have more numbers now than we had a year ago, 2 years ago.
So average.
I wouldn't, the WP has not authorized me to say how many
Okay.
members it has. And so I wouldn't think, but
And your decision to join with the APNU banner to go into the election, that was done in consultation with your members?
yes, yes.
Why do you presume it was easier for you guys to reach a decision as opposed to the AFC that had to also consult with their members?
Well, I don't want to compare with AFC,
Mhm.
but I can tell you why it was easier. Because ultimately we felt that the PPP has taken this country down a dangerous path that needs to be stopped. And that we believe ultimately in a national government. That is a government that includes all the political parties, PPP, PNC, WPA, all the other parties. WIN, we believe in a government of national unity. But we feel that in order to get to a government of national unity, the PPP has to be removed from office because they are the only party in this country. Well, I don't know about WIN, but of all the older parties, PPP is the only one that is not in favor of a government of national unity. And so we believe that a path to national unity meant that you had to remove the PPP, get a government, and then engage the PPP when they're out of government to join the government of national unity. And so it is that view that the PPP is bad for the good future of this country, that we felt we needed the broadest possible coalition in order to do the first task, which is to remove the PPP. So removal of the PPP as a means to the larger end or the better end was what inspired us to join. And so we didn't have a problem. We were not inspired in the coalition by how much we could get out of it. We were inspired by what we see as the larger good of this country. And the larger good of this country is that each party representing its supporters, whether the supporters are of one race group or two race group, that all of us need to be at that table to decide how this country is going to work, how this country is going to develop. Sir Arthur Lewis St. Lucian, Nobel Prize winner, defined democracy as all those who are affected by a decision must be at the table to make the decision. $1.3 trillion is spent, and one party decides that, representing 55% of the electorate. What about the 45% of the electorate? Don't they have a right to be at the table? What about those who didn't vote? Because although the PNC, the PPP got 55%, it's 55% of the 50% that vote, which is really, the PPP is really representing 20% of the electorate and deciding $1.3 trillion. That cannot be democratic. So democracy must mean that all parties, regardless of what votes you have, should be at the table making the decision. That's the WPA's philosophy. That is why we are engaged in politics, and that is what we will continue to fight for. We started that fight in 1974. 50 years later, we still believe that that is the future for Guyana.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'm sure we all will agree that that was a heavy discussion. Thank you for being here with us, Dr. Hines. I know that we touched on some sensitive topics, and I would like to hear from you, our viewers, about how you feel and if you agree with some of the things discussed here. As always, peace.
Well, there you have it. Sorry, the interview was somewhat low, but it wasn't from my end. It was the feed that I was taking. But you can go on the Guyana Standard website and see the interview. So after all the big confusion over my statement at the end of the first interview that he must commit suicide, unless you thought that I'm stupid, unless you thought that I'm not human being, unless you thought that I'm uneducated, you would wait to hear those who jumped to a conclusion that I was saying that Muhammad got to take his life to heal black people. I want to say it's ignorance, and perhaps it is. It's willful ignorance, but those are the things that make me fear for my country. And that says to you that we have to redouble our efforts to save this country, not just from the PPP and authoritarianism, but to save this country from the willful ignorance that the PPP is pushing as part of policy. And some of our young people are falling victims to it. Again, I dedicate this program tonight to young people because contrary to what some people are peddling, young people are listening to us. The Freddie Kissoon say, oh, young people don't listen to David Hines, he playing Calypso, and they don't listen to Calypso. He the lock up in the house because he don't go no way. What he know what young black people just listen to. But it is that kind of patronizing of Africans in this country that is so galling to me, that everybody think that they know what black people think. Everybody trying to tell black people, put yourself down as sacrificial lambs. It ain't happening so long as I have a voice. I'm going to fight back. Our young people are not lost. They're not lost. They made a an electoral decision. I don't agree with it. I think ultimately those young people will realize it was, in a larger terms, a mistake. Electorally, it may not be a mistake, but in the larger mix of Guyana, it could have consequences, right? And so we have to work on it. I hope you all were able, well, you all are here with me every night, so you all know my views. That interview was nothing new from what I've been saying over and over again. But since they decide that I am the most controversial public person in Guyana, they go with it and they make me more known and put my views. If one thing that came out of this interview is that they've planted me in the minds of young people, I thank them for that. It may not have been their intention, but by focusing on young people and thinking that young people are alienated from people like me, what they have done is to give me relevance in the minds of young people, that young people now would explore my politics, our politics more. And I thank them for that. I notice, you see, look, this Lick Bottom story, they know themselves, you know. They know themselves. And as I said last night, that they know who they are. And they're trying to conflate themselves with the larger society. And they are not. The larger African community, sorry, not society, the larger community. The larger African community don't want them. Don't want these chaps who have you there with your family all the time. And then you get all the sweet. And then all of a sudden you gone over to a next family and say, you were never happy for 50 years with your family. But you go over to the next family one day and you're happy over there. Who is supposed to believe that? Who is supposed to believe that? What you're in fact doing is saying that your own family is not a family. Your own family has no love. And you're going where love is. What can be more racist than that? You are bought in to the stereotype, the racial stereotype, that black people crude. They ain't got no love. And that you know gone over there and you discover love. And that is why I reiterate. I don't care who join wherever they want to join. But when you go over there and saying that my community, my people ain't got no love, that you discover love in the other place. Now, I have no doubt that there may be love in the other place. So I am not taking task with your love that you're enjoying over there. But to then say that your people have no love, you're taking away their humanity, because it is human to love. And that is what racism is. I'm going to hammer, and teach this country what is racism. You go over on the other side. You may find some love over there. So I'm not contesting that, because those people over there are human beings. And I'm sure they have love. But to then say that your mama who gave you birth, who raised you, who scrub your skin, dig out wax from your ears, take out bubble from your eye, make you who you are, that she got no love? That is what I'm calling lick bottom. That you feel you have to grovel over there. And that's where the term ass licking and lick bottom come from, is the way the African or the Indian or the Portuguese or the Amerindian who grovels once he or she goes over to the other side. Your people have no love. You never feel love in the PNC as you're feeling in the PPP. So the PNC is not a piece of wood. The PNC is made up of people, members, supporters. And you find no love? Come on. And that is what I'm fighting. I'm fighting, if you want to go where, go where. Go where. If you feel that that's better for you. But don't when you go where, then say, where you come from, ain't got love, ain't got soul, ain't got humanity. And that is the anti-black racism that is becoming so seductive to a small group of African, mostly young people, but not all young people, mostly men, but not all men. That is what we have to fight against. Not people going, because some of them will go and they're going to come back. The other people just go and come back. So it's not the going that is the problem. It's having gone. Having gone. What you are saying about your own mama, your own daddy. Huh? So here we are, brothers and sisters. The struggle continues. And we are going to continue to do this and do this because we got the future of this country. And I thank all those young people who looked at the program and are feeling that the program opens up for them new ways of engaging our society, new ways of engaging the world. This may well be a pivotal moment for our community. As I said, I'm going to start a course on Pan-Africanism in another couple of weeks. And if you want to enroll for the course, it's going to be virtual. Please get in touch with me. Inbox me, email me, WhatsApp me, and we'll make sure that you get into the course. While I will conduct the course, I will have guest lectures from other African Guyanese, African Caribbean scholars. So it would be not just myself, although, like I said, I will spearhead the course, but and this is the beginning of an education initiative on the part of Politics 101 with support from the WPA, support from African Guyanese organizations, that we will start the education process. We will start. I have gotten permission from the WPA to engage in this kind of work. I'm not doing it as WPA, but that's my party, right? And my party has given me the time to engage in this kind of work. I'll be doing it under the auspices of Politics 101, and we are going to take it from there. I'm going to enlist the participation of other scholars and activists to serve as instructors on these courses. So we start with Pan-Africanism. Those of you, please enroll for the course. I'll see you all next week. For those of you who are Black conscious, we are mourning the loss of Asante Shakur, one of the iconic voices of our time. Yesterday, she went back to the ancestors. Those of you who are acquainted with African and Black diasporan voices, she was a founder member of the Black Panthers, the Black Liberation Army. She was hounded out of the United States, and she was given a home in Cuba. Was given a home in Cuba. I think she has been there from 1984. She was given asylum in Cuba. Those of you who know Tupac Shakur will know the relationship between the two. Asante Shakur, one of our great personalities in contemporary African diaspora struggle for justice, has gone back to the ancestors. May she find her place and continue her work in the great beyond. We who are left must become more Shakurs and keep the fire burning. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning till the break of day. It may be stormy tonight. The winds may be howling. The thunder may be rolling, but joy cometh in the morning. And there is always a morning beckoning. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We will overcome. Because the will to overcome is part of who we are. It's part of who we are. And we are what we are. And that's the way it's going to be. Have a good weekend. And we'll be back on Monday.